Many times this area has been described as pristine, but if you look closely, you'll see that this is actually a working forest. It has been logged many times. Right now, the timber that's out here is not quite mature yet. It will probably be 15, 20, 30 years before this is logged again. You can see that there are signs here of past mining. What would happen is they would dig down to get to the ore that was 65 or 70% pure, and the rock that was left over that wasn't high in iron content would be piled here. There is an old railroad spur right here. This whole area is crisscrossed by 2-track roads and also gravel roads. The Ironwood Formation is a rock outcropping that contains the iron ore. And for a magnet to stick on this formation, it has to be at least 70% iron. You can actually see some rust on the rock here. I've got my favorite refrigerator magnet here. And you can see how much iron is in this rock. Got to be at least 70%. Now there's been concerns that when they start blasting to remove this iron that it may crack the foundations of houses. But both in current and in the proposed law, there are regulations saying that if it appears that blasting is going to cause foundations to crack or damage to public buildings, churches, or cemeteries, that the mine will not be permitted. Whatever mining company chooses to mine this will have to test the rock mechanics and the amount of vibrations traveling through these rocks to make sure it doesn't damage any existing buildings. We are standing right now in an area of forested wetland. Iron County has over 500,000 acres. Of that acreage, a third of it is wetland. We have about 100,000 acres of forested wetland, like you see here, about 50,000 acres of non-forested wetland, and 25,000 acres of lakes. This area serves the purpose of filtering the water to keep it clean. It's also a great spot for wildlife habitat. However, we've got a lot of it, and the area of the proposed mine site has about 815 acres of wetland. Even if a mining company were to fill in all the wetlands at the mine site, it would still represent less than 0.5% of the acreage in Iron County. It appears that mining operations could mine here and only affect about 200 to 300 acres of the wetland, and of course that has to be mitigated at a rate of 1.5 acres to 1 acre. Also, the mining company wants to avoid having to recreate wetlands someplace else because it's very expensive. Their first obligation is to avoid wetlands such as these, then it's to minimize any damage, and if that's not possible because we can't move where the ore body is, then they need to restore this acreage someplace else. This is the remains of the engine house of the old Tyler Forks mine, and right near here sits 18,000 tons of raw iron ore that was brought up from underground but never shipped. Ore prices dropped, the man went bankrupt, and the ore sits here to this day. We are about 1,000 feet from the Tyler Forks River. Many of these old sites are scattered throughout the Gogebic-Penoki Range. There were approximately 5 or 6 dozen mines, and 200 or more exploratory holes were dug looking for iron. Tyler Forks is a Class 2 trout stream. There's about 15 miles of Class 2 fishing and about 10 miles of Class 3. It is stocked. The DNR just stocked it with 941 catchable-sized trout. Part of the rock that goes on top of the Ironwood Formation, where the iron ore is called the Tyler Slate. And there's been lots of confusion regarding how many sulfide minerals are present in that Tyler Slate. Both Tom Fitz, who is a geology professor at Northland College and who is considered an expert on Great Lakes geology, and Assistant State Geologist Tom Evans believe that only trace amounts of sulfide minerals are present in the Tyler Formation. However, neither of them are willing to stick their academic credentials on that until there are adequate samples done of the Tyler Slate to prove that. If sulfide minerals are present in small amounts, they may be neutralized by carbonate or dolomite that may be present in the rock or the surrounding area. But again, we need to let the scientists figure that out during the exploratory phase, when core samples will be tested at certified labs to determine their exact mineral content. This is a small gorge and a very, very pretty spot. This is outside of the land leased by Iron County to Gogebic Taconite, and public access will remain open to this gorge. We have many, many pretty spots in Iron County. We have a pamphlet that lists 12 of our tallest waterfalls, although this site is not on there. We welcome you to come visit us and see all the pretty places, not only on Tyler Forks, but on the Potato River and the Montreal River.